Welcome to another episode from the Grapevine. I'm Nardine, and I have my friends here with me today.
Susan,
Ramonda,
Susie.
We're going to start with our spiritual topic. We're going to talk about creative ways to put your faith in action. And I'd like to start by hearing examples from you guys. If there's a way that you did showing you put your faith to action. Anyone have an example?
Yeah, I think the thing that I think about was right when I was graduating from pharmacy school, the church was going to Egypt, and they're going to a very poor village in Upper Egypt. Yeah, where Beeman is. And we talked about getting a pharmacists and doctors together to go do a missionary trip. So for me, I thought that was a really good way to, God blessed us with these careers and got me through school. So it was a good way to go and really put that faith into action. And it was a great way to, pay it forward. And it was also a very spiritually beneficial trip for me, I know.
Oh, of course, I bet.
I definitely recommend mission trips. I did one too, but I didn't go to Egypt. I did one here in Mexico. Not here, but in Mexico. It was amazing. I was really scared of it. I was by myself. I didn't know anybody that was going. Kind of got lost getting there, and I was like, okay, this is God trying to teach me patience and all this stuff. But it was amazing because it was beneficial in that way that we were talking to people that didn't know who God was, and there's a lot of people that are Sabbath or
Adventists.
And so it was talking to them and everything, and Abuna used to tell us don't argue with them, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna argue, we're just gonna talk. And I think that was a great way of showing that.
Yeah, it's amazing because you have to show your faith without talking maybe about your faith.
Exactly.
But they can probably see it through what you're doing.
Yeah. They see, that's exactly how they were just looking at you, and that's how they saw it. It was all through action.
Wow.
Right. Well, I haven't been on any of those type of trips, so mine's a little bit small. But there was a mother's group that I was part of when I first had my first two children, and they brought little tiny bags that we'd fill with toothpaste and toothbrushes and all kinds of hygienic stuff, and then they wanted us to give it out to random people that we saw that were in need, a lot of homeless people.
I love that.
And so so we filled up, we had I think everyone was given about 4 bags, and then during the week, so if I would see someone and I'd show the girls, my daughters, I'm like, this is what we do when we see someone in need, we try to give them money, or we try to give them something that they would need. And everyone who got it really appreciated it. They didn't look at me like, how do you know I'm homeless, or throw something at me. They kind of saw that it was a care package, and there was a verse, I think, in each bag for them.
Awesome. That's a good idea.
Yeah. I love that.
Actually, I have besides these things, I wanted to get more into depth with our practical life. For example, especially for women, if I hear someone talking bad about me, or telling me bad comments that I know that person will hurt me, or stuff like that. Usually, most things that I see, including myself, is that I'll talk back. If she tells me a bad comment, I've got tons. You make fun of me, I can make fun of you too. And I've caught myself do it, but that's not how it's supposed to go. Because well, actually, again, my husband's the one that made me notice that I do this. That whenever someone talks to me, and this happens to me a lot. I don't know why I'm very intimidating, I guess. But people talk to me in a very aggressive way a lot. So it kind of builds up my character where I'm aggressive even to nice people. But then it's not a joke. It's serious. And then I was like, okay, you know what? If they want to do this, they got to do this. I have kids. I need to teach them how to be humble, how to what Jesus said: if someone slaps you on one cheek, you give the other one. Besides getting actually physical, but so I started doing this practically. I think I started a few months back. Whenever someone says something bad about me or something, I'm like, thank you so much for your comment. I really appreciate it. I know how much you care about me. And now I'm working on actually meaning it, not just words. Yeah. You know what I mean? I pray to God, I'm like, please, I don't want to hate that person. Right. I know. It takes.
Take it till you make it.
I know. So, it takes a lot of prayers. I pray about it all the time, especially when the comments come about my kids. I have to take it in. Like,
Oh, I'm in attack mode.
I
Don't
know,
say anything
all
about my
the
baby.
time. Like, they will come and tell me, oh, your son is very aggressive. What do you mean? He just hugged your son. But anyway, so I feel like this is another way that we could be creative. Just, whenever we receive something bad, just
to follow the commandment right to a T.
Exactly.
That is really creative because it's so hard for us as we're all so prideful. That to actually follow what Jesus told us to do, it is like the new creative way. Not like, oh yeah, this is how, I mean, the way the martyrs did it is what Jesus did. And then there's so many years really without that. And now you're coming back to it. So it is like, it's like the new creative ways. Let's follow the way.
Yeah,
Going back
because
to
we live in such a tooth for a tooth, society that. Here's my question for you though. Now, do you feel better after you
I do.
You do?
I actually, at first, I wasn't, because I would be in the car like, I could have answered and told her that. I could have defended myself. But later on down the road, honestly, she started to change, or whoever the people are, started to change their behavior towards me after I started to do this. Like, if they see me not in a good mood, what's wrong? Tell me what, like, they don't usually do this, like, at all. So that actually made me feel good, because I did something that the Bible said. It was hard. It was really hard at the beginning, especially for my character. But down the road, I was like, you see, like, it didn't just improve my way, it improved someone else's way. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the things that, like, caught my attention. I was like, so how many things during my day do I do wrong that I need to work on according to what Jesus said? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, well, I wanted to talk also about the cheek, give the other cheek competitions. Sometimes I have to bring this up. I've noticed recently, the past years, that every event that gathers so many churches, there has to be a fight, whether it's physical, whether it's I don't know, like humiliation or whatever. And it's not just the kids anymore, it's even their coaches, it's even their parents. And that's also another thing. Like, if we're gonna take that verse like literally, if someone slaps you, give them the other cheek. If someone hits you, don't hit them back. Mm-hmm. If someone pushes you, don't push them back. It's either you say, like, sorry I made you do this, or please stop, or leave.
Some
or
people
forgive you.
Yeah.
Or I'll forgive you. I know this is more powerful. It's very hard. It's very
Some
hard.
people will actually take that and like hit you again.
Yes,
it's like, what are you trying to do?
I know.
I think it's like thinking that you're making fun of
belittling.
You literally think you're better.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
It's
another one.
I know. It's very hard, especially for men. Because men, it's like, oh my God, this is my pride, my dignity, my ego in front of people. I'm not just going to stand there,
And they're in the heat of competition.
Yeah. Exactly.
So your levels of whatever, it's really up there. So
yeah, so it's this. I believe that we, the priests or the servants that are responsible for this, should talk not just to the players, to even the crowd. Like,
I think they do before they start the competitions. They always say a prayer, and they say it's for fun.
You need to focus, because let's be frank. I know if I go to this place, who can cause a fight and who would let it go.
Exactly.
So I should go and talk to that person and be like, hey, listen, remember when someone slapped Jesus and he gave him the other cheek? Mm-hmm. We're doing the same.
Right.
But I think during the time of, because I know some people that, like, during the basketball competition we helped. And so there were some players that they're going to fight. Mm-hmm. And some teams that they're going to attack each other.
And some fans that
and some fans and moms and dads, actually moms more than the dads, that get in during everything and make things actually worse. So they went to them and they approached them and they're like, hey, this is for fun, this is for this, it's a church event, like, we're representing God, like, be careful with your actions, be careful with your words, please don't cause what happened last year or whatever. And they still, and they still got in a fight.
I think what's so crazy about that to me though is, like, that's a church event and that's like their kids and all this stuff, but that is like a true assessment of how they're going to handle life in the future.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I mean that.
And these church events are actually creative ways to put our faith in action, putting it together with each other, and it's a huge event. And some of us gather together to support our churches and to actually meet other people. I mean, isn't this how some youth are finding their spouses.
Yes.
Yes. True. I don't want to meet my spouse fighting someone else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, thank you. I have a good idea about you now.
Peace
Right?
out.
So I think you said that they still do it every year. I think like just keep talking to those people.
Yeah.
That's what happened. I kept I didn't like what I did about not defending myself, but down the road I just, you know, like, oh, this is actually good. I feel good about it. I don't have to hurt someone because
I was the opposite of you.
Oh, really?
So growing up, I didn't really defend myself, and recently, for some odd reason, I started defending myself. But then I feel bad afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm like, why did I just? So guilty. I'm like, why did I just argue about that? It's like, why did I? It's okay. I could have let it go. Like, and Mino told me too. He's like, why don't you just let it go? I'm like, because
I don't know, but I'll get you the answer.
You know, I think if you do it in a respectful way, though, there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with standing your ground. It's just a matter of, like, when it becomes disrespectful. And, like, the purpose of doing these sports and doing those things are, I mean, they should be, like, sportsmanship.
yeah.
That's when you should
Exactly.
learn how to lose gracefully.
Yeah.
I mean, and then, like, it's sad, though, if the parents aren't modeling that.
And that's the issue. It's like the parents aren't doing it. Why should I do it?
Yeah.
I think what plays a role in that is whoever their superior is. Like if my coach is like, hey, listen, we're there to have fun. If we don't win, we still good team and whatever.
Yeah.
The players are gonna be like, okay, we're gonna do our best. If we got it, we got it. We don't, it's all right. We still had fun. But if your coach is like, you need to focus. You did not do good last time. You need to get we need to be the number 1 or number 2 or whatever. Down the road, they're gonna be aggressive.
Yeah.
Like
But
also,
other teams are aggressive. So I did Maharagan, and I used to do, I taught middle school. And so I would tell my I did girls. And so I'd tell my girls, like, it's fun, and it was soccer competition. I'd be like, it's fun, just have fun, you know, don't worry about it. You score a goal, great, that's great. And then when they get attacked from the other team, you're like, be aggressive! It's like, yeah, it's like, why are they? Yes! It's like when a girl like knocks one of your girls down. It's like, why are you knocking her down? Like,
I know. It's the same instinct as a mom. Like if someone comes near my kid, I'll do not nice things to you. But
that's a great way of like that is something that we should be showing, because this is the creative way of showing our faith. So we do need to be careful how we act in public. Yes.
Sports events. Being a coach. I mean,
Yes.
these are all types of services that are creative. So when something comes and sabotages, you know, what our faith is supposed to look like, then it kind of backfires on us.
It
And then we
does.
look foolish, or, you know, to whoever's there or to the world.
and sometimes you don't have control over it. Like you were saying, like recently you've been so like back to back or whatever. It's the stress, especially for not just moms. Like if you're a college student or if you have stress at work, when people from the outside put more on you, it's got to get out somehow, you know? So that's also another thing. I'm not going to go into stress, but it's another one of the factors. Like I feel the devil's tempting us from it. Like we'll be working on it and then everything crumbles over your head and you're like, okay, I can't do this. You know what I mean? So I just feel like that's another thing. Like whenever we're stressed or something, and someone gives us like a bad comment or whatever, be like, hey, I'm not in a good mood today, but I'll put that into consideration. And just, I've done this, like literally, even with my own family. Like if they call me on a day that I'm completely off and they decide to talk to me about a post, I put it on Facebook. I'm like, okay, I'm not in the mood for this right now, but I'll take your comment tomorrow. Just, I need to sleep on it today.
Right.
You know, it happens. We're humans.
Well, what's funny is I think you're right. I think every single day we wake up, we have the choice to put our faith into some creative way. Like, so kind of a funny story, work related, but we asked all our pharmacists in our stores to come up with a board. It's called a kind of like a care board or a who's who board. And it was supposed
my
to
husband
be
told me about that.
really? Same company. And it was basically supposed to be like, who is that person who you go to work for and inspires you to give really good patient care? Okay.
that's nice.
Or like, who's that person who's impacted your life in a big way? You know, something like that. So, and it was due February 14th, the day of love. And so today, actually, I was up in a store and I walked in, I saw their who's who board, and is the first one that I saw that had a picture of Jesus on it.
Oh, I love
And
that.
honestly, honestly, I looked at it and I was like,
Finally.
I'm just amazed. Like, I'm amazed that somebody, you know, because like this is not a religious, you know, workplace.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's amazing that somebody stood up and said, like, you know what, I'm not embarrassed, and I come to, you know, take care of other people and care for other people because of my faith.
The way that he did.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like
I
you
love
chose
that.
it just hit me now that, I mean, that is like, what other way, what more creative can you get? You're saying this is the person who inspires you every day.
A nice board picture of
and I took a picture
Yeah.
of it actually, and it was like that technician was like, "This is my who. That's who my who.
Yeah.
That's my who."
I love that.
That's really good.
That was really neat.
That's really awesome. Oh, my husband has my picture. You better have it.
Yeah, and that's like the thing is you know, I saw all these beautiful creative boards, and it's like everybody's like my kids or, you know, like my parents or, you know, somebody. But I just thought that was amazing.
Oh no, that's very unique.
Yeah.
And think about how,
yeah.
because like at work, like how many times do you see, like everyone has pictures of their family members, their kids, but how many times do you see a cross or like a picture of Jesus? Like it's not very often. Like I used to have a verse, but that's not enough.
Right. Yeah, I guess a lot of people feel that they'll be under some kind of attack if they bring in Jesus to the office or something.
That's so true.
But that is a really creative way actually to show your faith.
Yeah.
You do bring like a little cross or, I mean, we wear our crosses most of the time, but to have it like at your desk or your office or maybe a picture of Jesus or something, I'm sure a lot of people will be like, oh, that's really strange. Is that your uncle or something?
Yeah.
So we do these team lunches at work whenever I was working, and one of the managers, she actually would like pray, and it was I was like, whoa, like, you know, like I pray, but I don't. She used to like make us all pray. Like she'd be like, okay, guys, and we're all like,
that's cool.
The first time she did it, I was like, really? Like you're gonna do this?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wish I was that bold.
I know. That's why I was like, really? Okay. Exactly.
Everything
What's
has to be
better way to get fired?
I know.
Yeah.
That is
I
true.
mean, my manager did that too in public. She didn't make us, but whenever she's in the break room, she would pray, and even during fast, she would fast, and not a lot of Americans I see them fast. So I was like pretty impressed that she did, and I was like, wow, it's nice to find someone like me in the
and then
workplace.
like in high school and elementary, when we see fool and stuff, kids should be like, I'm proud, like, yeah, I'm fasting, this is why I'm eating it. But whenever I was a kid, I'd be like, oh, I'm fasting.
I know.
They're like, what's that? I'm like, but we should have used that to get the faith out there. Like, you're doing it anyways, like, use it.
Right, that's true.
It's so funny because back then you just think about how can I fit in.
Exactly.
Where's my ham and turkey?
Yes.
My advice.
No, yeah.
My advice to this would be like, each one has their own way of showing everything, not just, you know, acting on your faith, but whatever makes you comfortable and makes you feel good that you're doing what Jesus told you. Be creative. That's the topic. So if you're in high school and trying to fit in, you could still fit in, but according to Jesus, and not do anything that you're not supposed to at work, at school. So my advice is just try to hang in there. And,
find your creative way.
I know, find your creative way. We'll be right back. And we're back. Our general topic, it's going to be an interesting one that most couples that are still not married, you're going to have to watch this episode. It's about receptions after wedding ceremony that include dancing and drinking. To me, dancing and drinking are not combined. Like, I can't say you're not allowed to have dancing and drinking. To me, they're two different categories. Like, drinking, it's off the table, not an option. But dancing, I feel like if you have like group dances or just jumping and appropriate, let's call it that, it's
Pokey,
okay.
pokey.
It's not to the left and to the right, you know,
Yes.
stuff like that. It's not horrible. It's just, you know, we're having fun. But it's not like drinking. Drinking is just not an option.
Okay, so we didn't have, my dad's only request for us was no alcohol at the wedding. So we didn't have alcohol at the wedding, but there was still alcohol at the wedding.
Of course.
The wedding almost got shut down because the amount of alcohol that was there Yeah. So it was like, okay, if you're not going to provide it, they're still going to get it. So are you going to do it in a healthy way, or they're going to go crazy?
Well, but how is it a healthy way either way?
Because when there's a
not gonna be
bartender,
any alcohol.
no, because everybody asks.
Oh,
Yeah.
everyone asked.
Yeah, everybody's like, is there gonna be alcohol? Is there gonna be? I'm like, no.
Especially if you write on the invitation,
My uncle
like
is
an
a
age
priest and he's
limit,
gonna be
they think
there.
there is.
Yeah.
But
18 and
there's
up.
really not. But it's just, more fun if we're just all adults.
Yeah.
I think with the drinking though, because I talked to one of the priests about this. For example, in a wedding, they didn't have open bar. They just had cash bar.
Yeah.
Which is something the hotel provided, where if you want, you get your own money and get it. And the couple thought, there's no blame on them because they're not paying for it, but they're still blamed because they allowed the hotel to provide that. They could have said no alcohol.
But there's
period.
still a bar at the hotel
There's
that
a
they can
bar,
go to.
like,
But
literally
it's,
outside
on a
the
different-
Yeah.
It's on a different floor and it closes at certain time. But no, I'm talking about like a cash bar
In
with
the
like
hotel- in
in
the
or
reception.
outside the door,
Yeah.
which is convenient. And Abuna said, well, no, that was also wrong. You could have told the hotel, no, I don't want anything on that floor that included alcohol. And then I talked to him about like, what about guests bringing alcohol,
Yeah.
which happens not even
All
weddings,
the
birthdays,
Everything.
okay? So
Gatherings.
yeah, he's like, he told me a very good comment, which I was like, yeah, that's true, because I can't really control people's actions. I'll just be like, hey guys, I would really appreciate it if nobody brought alcohol to my wedding or to my event. If they brought it, it's on them. I already gave.
But how are you? That's so random to go to people that they're gonna bring.
But
it's like,
Bring in the hotel. I would think
They-
the hotel themselves
jackets under a
It's so different from
table.
when I got married, which was almost 17 years ago. We had dancing and we had an open bar. I mean, looking back now, I wouldn't do the drinking just because that would have saved me a ton of money.
Exactly.
True.
But I think with us, the reason why we had everything is because all of your friends are getting married around the same time. So there is a competition when it comes to the wedding.
Yeah.
Where you want to have the belly dancer, the best belly dancer, or the best music or whatever. So it's a competition which really takes away from the holiness of the sacrament of marriage. So looking back now, I'm like, I don't know if I would take away dancing. I know it's not good. So I don't want to judge anyone who's doing it now, because when you're young, you're not thinking of it as a holy thing. We should be, because this is the person we're marrying for life, we're becoming one with. Through the mystery of the sacrament that the Holy Spirit comes and makes you one flesh. But then the world takes over. So we start out with Jesus and we get crowned and it's so holy and so beautiful, and then we kind of leave Jesus at the church and then we go and party and the world takes over. So, I mean, looking back now, I'm like, well, would I do dancing? Maybe, maybe not, depending on how it is. When I got married, the dancing was raunchy, but it was, I mean, not at our wedding, but I don't know how it is now. I mean, there's people that are twerking, I guess, at weddings or something. I'm not sure.
Twerking?
But they don't do that. They didn't do that at our wedding. And then I heard from somebody from my church that there's like, now with the digital cameras, because nobody had a digital camera at our time, they're actually videotaping the belly dancer. And so what are they doing with that video when they take it home? So now I'm like, well, maybe I would take out the dancing and maybe I would take out the drinking, because it seems like it's gone so far.
Yeah.
So much worse. Nobody was videotaping. I mean, there's people with big, gigantic cameras back then, but I don't know, what they were doing. There wasn't that awkward thing where there's a whole bunch of people videotaping and stuff.
I wanted to reply, but like, how would you know who would bring alcohol?
We know.
But yeah, it's always known who is the group or who is the specific person that gets these things, and you could even, like, some people would just write it
But I'm saying
on the
it's
invitation.
random.
No alcohol, please.
Yeah, but I mean, really, okay. I think the thing is you can only, like, what's the saying, lead a horse to water.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I mean, you
Exactly.
can either, they're gonna find a way to get it.
They are.
Exactly.
Is what it
but
comes
it's
down
just
to.
If
like,
they don't bring it in the wedding, they're going to drink before they come.
Yeah.
It's like, they're going to find a way.
Yeah,
Nobody
that's what-
knows until they get to the wedding, and then they realize, oh, Abuna's here. No wonder there's no liquor, there's no music, there's no band, there's no DJ. I didn't know that they know ahead of time.
No, yeah.
That's the point where Bruno was like, you did your part. I mean, because he was like, why don't you go if you see them in the wedding and talk to them about, taking it to the car. But as a bride,
You're not going to do that.
I'm not going to go to my guests and be like, hey, please, leave with your alcohol.
I
I'm
almost
not
did.
even going to be concentrating on that. I have
At
tons
our
of
wedding,
other things.
at our wedding, they kept coming to me and saying that people were drinking, and there's like underage drinking supposedly. Wow. And so they were like, we smell alcohol. I'm like,
what do you want me to
whoever, and they came to me like 3 times. And the 3rd time, I was like, there's a groom right there. You can go talk to him. If anybody's drinking alcohol, if you see them with alcohol, take them out.
Yeah, that's like too much on your day as the bride.
I
It's just too much to deal
broke
with.
down and started crying. I was like, this is ridiculous. I was like, they're like, we're going to shut the place down and all this stuff. I was like, just take whoever's drinking and take them outside.
Yeah. You're like, I didn't sign that up.
Yeah, I was like, whatever.
I didn't know
do what you need.
No, it is, and that's the problem. Like, the drinking will lead to inappropriate dancing because you're like,
but I don't think we had inappropriate dancing.
No,
we did.
There is always like I don't know if you heard of it, but there's always in like almost all the weddings, there is.
I felt like more, which is awkward. The guys were dancing with all the guys, and the girls were dancing with the girls.
I feel like that's typical.
No, even with the parents were all together.
Well, in my wedding, after everyone was almost not there, and they started cleaning up tables and stuff. I'm not into English songs, mainly Arabic, so they started playing English songs.
Yeah.
And girls and boys, they were drunk. So
on top of each other?
Oh yeah,
like grinding,
lap dances, twerking.
Wow.
Tango in weird ways.
Oh my.
So and at that point, my dad went to bed. He's like, okay, like we need to tell those people to go home. And we did. And in so many other weddings, not just ours, like I've seen it, and not even, like you said, not even after when the parents leave. I've been to one last year, and the twerking was, no, I'm sorry, it wasn't a wedding. It was a quinceañera.
Sweet 15.
And she's Egyptian.
I was like, do we do that?
I know. I didn't know we did that.
She invited boys that were not Egyptian to her party. And she started giving them lap dances, and the mama was so proud.
Oh wow!
I was in shock.
Okay,
I was like, yeah, I'm leaving. I don't want to be a part of this, and I just left right away. So it's not even just weddings. It's
like, what are you celebrating?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are you proud of?
Yeah.
It's ruining the good part about it.
Exactly.
For me, it just seems like, I clearly am no angel, and I go to all those weddings and all that, but I mean, that's probably the worst thing you could do after, just like you said, receiving like a sacrament.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you literally have just become one, like you said, and then to go and do that, or it's usually typically not really the bride and groom, I would say, but to be in an environment where that's happening is probably a really bad setup for your marriage. And honestly, a lot of priests are against that now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, usually
it's because of the bad action.
Exactly. And I think,
clearly they've always been against it. But the point is that that's like a discussion. Like, how is this going to be? How are your reception going to be?
Abuna Ruiz actually told the servants, because when we have our servant meetings, he's like, if I find out any servants are dancing at any of these weddings, then you can no longer serve. And I don't know if this is coming from the bishop or if this is coming from Abuna, but it's a huge thing. It was weird. I was looking up this topic, and it turns out that this has been a problem since forever, because it says that St. John Chrysostom, he wrote, "Why then do you celebrate weddings in a silly and immodest manner?" And this is in the 4th century. Have you no idea what you are doing? You are marrying your wife for the procreation of children and for moderation of life. What is the meaning of these drunken parties with their lewd and disgraceful behavior? You can enjoy a banquet with your friends to celebrate your marriage. I do not forbid this, but why must you introduce all these excesses? Camels and mules behave more decently than some people at wedding receptions.
Oh
wow.
Wow.
And this is like 1,500 years ago. Yeah, when you gave the topic, I was like, is there really? I mean, I know we discussed in church. Is there anything on it? And LACOPTS.org has a huge article on it, and it even has like all the fathers of the church like writing different things just about weddings alone. And I thought, wow, so we've actually been dealing with this problem for over 1,000 years, over 1,500 years.
Actually, so I had a cousin at a family function leave the function, and I was like, what's going on? Like, why are you leaving? And he was like, this isn't something I want in. I'm not really into it. And so I was like, what do you mean? Like, this is what we do. This is how every event has been. Everybody eats and then the music starts. so why are you leaving now? And he was like, this isn't a part of our traditions. This is a part of our cultures. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, it's a part of the Egyptian culture, not the Coptic culture. And so I was like, what's the difference? I thought they're like the same. I was like a naive kid back then. And so he was like, no, this is like an Islamic thing that we took from them. And so I was like, oh, really? He was like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay, so that makes sense. He's like, I just don't like to participate. And I was like, but this is your cousin. Like, how are you going to leave? You can't just leave an event like that. And he left. He was like, this isn't what I like to do. And he left. I was like, wow.
It's funny how we get used to something and we're like, no, I mean, this is what happens. And I think that happens. I think between just being used to it and, like you said, everybody trying to one-up each other, you know, like, oh, you have cash bar, I'm going to have open bar. Oh, you're going to have that dance floor, I'm going to have a bigger dance floor, you know.
And now in Egypt, like, if there is a wedding without a belly dancer, like, really?
Really?
Or a singer.
Wow.
Or a singer.
Or a singer. Like, it's not even the having fun anymore. It's who's got more money? Who's gonna do a better wedding? It doesn't matter what happens during it. I just have, like, if one person brings a singer called Hakim, oh, I have to get Amr Diab. Someone gets Dina, oh, I have to get Safinar. You know, like, people like that. I'm like, and started to be
happen here
too. Like, several weddings I went and there's belly dancers. I'm like, where are you getting them from? Like, I didn't know we even have them here, but there is. And priests are really upset about that because, you know, it's getting, like, it's one thing when you have dancing, but another thing when you have a belly dancer. No, that's not appropriate. It's not. What type of celebration are you trying to do here?
Right. But it's a part of the culture.
I thought it was a tradition.
It is. It's a part of the culture.
But it's not like
or the tradition.
Dancing.
Yeah.
Hers,
she's just putting on show. She's just putting on a show.
You know, a member in my family, she had a dancer in her wedding. Her dad left.
Yeah, my dad said no, literally, none of that.
He left. Like,
yeah, he was like,
he wasn't even open for negotiation. They told him she's gonna leave. He's like, no, I'm not gonna be a part of this, and he left.
Yeah, like the whole like dancing and drinking and all that. That was a big discussion before we got married. Like, I didn't think it would be an issue. Like, that's not something. It's whatever. But it turned out to be like a big discussion. I was like, I can't believe that this is turning into something like this. Like, I was like, there's no alcohol whatsoever. And it was like, how is there no alcohol? This is what's the normal. Like, what?
Yep.
It's like, they're going to have it anyways. I'm like, no, we can't provide it. Like,
I think that's what it comes down to is, like, are you providing it? Because, you know, you can only do so much.
Yeah.
If they're going to get it, they're going to get it. But is that the best way to start your wedding marriage?
Well, definitely this is a really hot topic that we need to get back to because this episode won't be enough. And hopefully next time we're going to have a guest, a priest or a bishop that will, back and forth on this point. And that's all for today. See you next episode. Bye.